Are you a business professional and are you stressed? That is exactly what I'm going to be talking in today's episode. If you answered yes to both those questions, this is the episode for you because your stress may be your biggest overhead cost. And once you get this under control, your income, your business may be going through the roof and may actually succeed. That is what I'm talking about today. The link between stress and your business, your work. I want to talk about 10 ways that stress impacts your work, and then 3 things that you can do right now to improve your stress, to improve your business. Let's get into it. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Absolutely love and appreciate your support. I'm passionate about all things health, business, and overall success. And if this is your first time here, my name is Mihaela. I'm a qualified naturopath. I'm here to provide you on Mondays with Mihaela savvy, simple, and sustainable health hacks to optimize your health. And today I'm going to be talking about how stress impacts your work, your business, and then what you can do to ensure that you've got it under control, which essentially means success for you and success for your business. I don't know about you, but I'm always the type of person that wants to have success, that wants to be more proactive, that looks at what can I do, what can I implement in my daily routine to achieve success. And that is why I know that stress impacts me, impacts the business, impacts anything around me. So therefore, I want to know how I can control it so I can get the most out of it. We don't, stress, a little bit of stress we get every single day. We get it through clients, we get it through family, we get it through ourselves. But then we don't just wake up with an empty cup of stress. Stress accumulates. It goes up and up and up and up and up until we deal with it and we empty that stress cup out. And then it can refill again, and then it's full again, we need to empty it out. But whilst it's getting full, it is impacting us. It is impacting our business. So yes, stress is hurting your bottom line, your business, your income, your work. Recent figures are showing that while compensation claims in Australia, employees fell significantly between 1996 and 2004, the number of stress-related claims almost doubled. And this is saying that work is stressing people out, and people are getting impacted by it, which means they're getting impacted by it physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually on the bottom line. But let's look at the 10 things that I promised you I want to be talking about how stress is impacting your business. Number 1, stress impacts your emotion. It does, 100%. I don't know about you, but remember, just think about the last time you were stressed and your emotions. Were you happy? I know I wasn't. Were you fidgety? Were you irritable? Were you moody? I know I definitely was, and I'm pretty sure you were too. You had some type of emotions in you. So when you are stressed, we know how stress impacts our emotions, our mood. And then this mood can directly impact our business decisions. A 2014 study looked at an association of daily cortisol with depressive mood and anger and concluded that the days the individuals showed hypercortisol patterns, they reflected chronic stress and linked with negative mood. This could lead you to lose your big client due to your mood, but your mood was only that way because you were stressed. Number 2, stress and disease. This is a huge topic that I cover in a lot of my episodes that you can go back and look at. Stress puts havoc on the mind and body. For example, physiological physiological stress is associated with a greater risk of depression, heart disease, and other chronic diseases. A researcher team led by Carnegie Mellon University Sheldon Cohen has found that chronic physiological stress is associated with the body losing its ability to regulate the inflammatory response. Published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, the research shows for the first time that the effects of stress on the body's ability to regulate inflammation can promote and develop the progression of the disease. So the more stressed we are, the more likely we are to be infected and have inflammation within our body, leading us to numerous chronic diseases. So inflammation is partly regulated by the hormone cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And when cortisol is not allowed to serve its function, inflammation gets out of control. So after they did this stress review, 276 healthy adults exposed to a virus that caused a common cold and monitored in quarantine for 5 days for signs of infection and illnesses. Here he found and experienced a prolonged stressful event was associated with the inability of immune cells to respond to hormonal signals that normally regulate inflammation. In turn, those with the inability to regulate inflammation responses were more likely to develop the cold when exposed to this virus. And this was a study done by this individual, which clearly shows to us how stress affects our disease state. So, more stressed we are at work, the more likely we get a disease, the less time we have, the less effort we have to put into our work. Number 3 is stress makes you stupid. I've done a video on this and it's quite interesting. Have a look at the episode to get more detail on that. But essentially, we have our emotional intelligence, and a strong emotional intelligence can help us build positive relationships with colleagues and improve performance. It's the ideal formula for business success, to have amazing emotional intelligence. But if stress prevents us from being aware and controlling our emotions, getting along with others, adapting to change, maintaining a positive mood, then our emotional intelligence is going down. It is affected. In fact, it has been scientifically demonstrated that emotional intelligence is more important than IQ. Okay, people get more success in their business if they have more emotional intelligence, and stress impacts this dramatically. According to Stein, stress harms a worker in many ways. It affects decision making impulsive decisions. It forces us to make mistakes. It causes us to ignore cues. It interferes with relationships with clients, with our colleagues, with our employer, employees, and so forth. And it lowers productivity. Number 4 is stress can make you less productive. Wanting to be more productive, to fit in more things in many hours, is the way our society is going. It's all about the hustle, getting more things for a shorter period of time. That is the key. However, being stressed and constantly having a to-do list and making yourself stressed out, that may be doing the opposite. And over time, so there was this study that I found that looked at doing overtime. So trying to keep working and doing more things. So instead of working only 40 hours, you're working 50, 60 hours. So on overtime and productivity, Stanford professor Jeffrey said a study using panel data for 18 industries in the United States found that the use of overtime hours lowers average output per hour worked for almost all the industries that they used. A 10% increase in overtime results in a 2.5% decrease in productivity. This is major. This is huge. So for all those individuals that are trying to work overtime, stressing themselves out trying to work overtime, it actually may be reducing your productivity. Number 5, stress may be causing you memory and concentration issues. That's right. We know how important memory and concentration is to finalize any project in your business, to conclude any deal, to be successful. Chronic stress also leads to the impairment in the hypothalamus, dependent learning and memory task center. Chronic immobilization, unpredictability, randomized stresses, repetitive social stresses, or chronic injections of cortisone injections have all been found to provoke deficits in hypothalamic dependent forms of memory. When we experience a threat, the amygdala sets off an alarm which puts our nervous system and body into a fight-flight response. This system exposes the brain and body to high levels of circulating stress hormones, cortisol. Research has shown that high levels of stress hormones over time can damage the hypothalamus. It actually shrinks the hypothalamus, which is extraordinary. This reduces the ability to encode memories. Therefore, your memory, your concentration is going downhill the more stressed you are. Number 6, stress actually impacts your decision-making process. As we know, as a business professional, we are faced with decision-making on a daily, hourly, minute basis. We are there to make decisions left, right, and center. And these decisions are going to impact our business, are going to impact ourselves, the bottom line, our success down the line. So a 2013 study in the Behavioral Brain Research Journal looked into stress and decision making and concluded a few of the below, which is really interesting. So the temporal dynamic of the effects of stress and decision making were tested. 5 or 18 minutes of stress exposure caused less risky decision. Okay. In contrast, 28 minutes after stress onset, decision making was more risky. So this is saying this is making 5 minutes, 18 minutes, or 28 minutes intervals what your decision making was, and you're exposed to stress. So the 5 minutes you're exposed to a little bit of stress, 18 minutes is in the middle, and then 28 minutes is a lot of stress. So this is saying that 5 or 18 minutes, it was less risky, your stress, your decision. However, at 28 minutes, your decision making was a lot more risky. Moderate increase of catecholamines may be beneficial for decision making under stress. However, increase in cortisol concentration may lead to riskier decision making. The findings are in line with the idea that a moderate increase of catecholamines enhances decision-making performance, while elevated cortisol concentration may negatively affect decision-making via these mechanisms in your brain. So, when we have a decision in front of us and we know we have been stressed out the whole week, hold up and don't make that decision, because making that decision may be the wrong one for your business and may harm your business. Number 7 is one that we already all know about, is that stress makes you fatigued. We are all here trying to make it. We're all here to achieve success. And the number one thing that I always hear people talk about is, I am tired, I'm fatigued, I want more energy. More energy means that I am going to achieve that success. However, if you are stressed, no matter what you do, you're still going to get that fatigued. Stress and fatigue are linked in together. They work hand in hand. So when we're fatigued, when we're stressed, we're sitting there, we are worrying, our body is tensed up, we are not falling asleep, we are having insomnia. Then beyond this, the suffering from nightmares or constantly waking up during the night, this makes you waking up without feeling refreshed, well rested. And this stress, which first started off with, being a bit worried, tense feelings, not sleeping well, is eventually causing that fatigue. So when you know that stress can lie at the base of development of fatigue, and that poor sleep can lead to more stress, it does not stop. It's an ongoing circle. When you are not rested, certain tasks, such as all your admin tasks, seems like so much work. Because concentration and memory requires a lot of effort, such tasks take up more time, when in turn causes you to be stressed. So the night before, you didn't have a good enough sleep, which means you're fatigued, you have this list of things to do, and you are going through them at a much slower rate because you're fatigued, you're stressed out, and because you're fatigued, you're not completing them the way you're supposed to be completing them. You get even more stressed out, and it's an ongoing cycle. It's, what do you work on? Do you work on a fatigue? Do you work on a stress? Because they are interlinked and they work together. So Stress itself can make you start choosing unhealthy ways of dealing with this stress also. So it's an ongoing circle. So this is where we need to break that cycle. And that's a huge one, which is stress makes you fatigue, which means then you're less productive. You're not achieving as much as you could be during your day. Number 8 is stress makes you lose money. That's it. Now, I've got some stats for you. So the impact on productivity is only the beginning. The second far greater effects of the financial cost of stress, the financial cost of an unhealthy workplace. Stress is rarely taken seriously, but the stats are alarming. Here are the stats, and this is in Australia. In Victoria, stress is the second most common cause of workplace compensation. Beyond Blue reports that pressure and anxiety cost Australian businesses about $10.8 billion a year. Absenteeism costs Australia around $92 million each year. The cost of presentism, which means you're not fully functioning at work because of this, because you're stressed out, is estimated at about $26 billion. The average total cost of mental stress claims is $140,000. Stress is a significant cost to companies across the developed world. It's estimated that in Australia, the US, the UK, and Germany, $200 to $300 billion a year is lost on absenteeism, employee turnover, diminished productivity, accidents, and medical, legal, and insurance fees. Additionally, stress is now shown to be responsible for 80% of all diseases and illnesses. A lot of individuals that go to the doctors, what they have or what they're presenting with is the cause of stress. Okay, and you may be saying, I don't have any employees. Well, if that's not doing to your employees, it is doing to you. Number 9 is stress is impacting your relationships. I'm talking about your employees, your co-workers, your clients, your family, your friends. It's impacting any relationship that you have, even the relationship that you have within yourself, the relationship that you have with yourself. Stress is impacting it. When you are stressed, you become, well, most of us become short-tempered, withdrawn. It's putting a strain on relationships, which makes you not think as clear. So think about this. You're going in for a meeting with a client. You're about to draw a deal, which is so good for your business. It's the definition of not being successful this year and being successful. And because you are stressed, you just crack it, or you become moody, or you become irritable. And your client senses that. They understand that. They're not going to do that deal with you, because if they see you irritable now, imagine how you're going to be throughout the process of the project. They're not going to do business with you. So this is how stress can impact your relationships, which can impact your business. Number 10 is stress hurts your communication. And we know how key communication is with any business deal, with any work that you're doing. Communication is key, because if you're not communicating to your best ability, you're probably not getting the best out of your work, and your business is probably not striving as much as it could be. Communication takes a lot of brain power. One part of your brain is controlling you listening, so you listening to what's happening. Another part of your brain is trying to make sense of what the person is saying. And the other one is trying to come up with a response to what that person is saying, and you making sense of it. And then the other one is telling that response. There is so much happening with communication. And if there's an error in any of those stages, you're not communicating well, because you're communicating in your mind. You thought you said something, it's not being heard properly. You're not listening as well. So the process takes a lot of concentration, which is made difficult if you're feeling anxious, if you're stressed out, if you have so many things in your head. You're not going to be communicating as well. So some individuals suffer from distracted thinking, which could be thinking about a conversation you had earlier that's playing around in your head. Or you're overthinking about something while someone's talking to you, and there's so much happening. Because when you're stressed, I know when I'm stressed, I've got things happening. Oh, you got to do this today, you got to do this, you got to do this. And then someone's talking to me, telling me something. I don't have the ability to listen to them as much as I should be listening to them, to come up with a response that is effective to them and then get the most out of me. So they're not getting the most out of it if I'm stressed. And I'm pretty sure your clients, your workplace is not getting the most out of you if you are stressed. There you have it, 10 ways stress is impacting your business. I mean, I could go on so many more. I could tell you another 10, but I thought I would niche it down to these 10 and present them to you. And I'm pretty sure now you're a bit worried and thinking, wow, what can I do to ensure that I'm not stressed? I don't want to be stressed, because if it's impacting my business this much, I need to work on my stress. And that's correct. You do need to work on your stress. Because if you want to be successful at growing your business, your workplace, and I'm pretty sure you do, being a successful business professional means taking care of your stress levels. Okay, so I'm really talking about 3 things that you can implement right now to ensure that your stress levels are at a position that is beneficial for you. Okay, number 1 is self-care. I have done a huge episode about self-care. Please listen to it. It goes into detail about what you can do, how self-care can benefit you. Number 2 is sleep. I also have done an episode on sleep. Please listen to that. I'll go into detail about how you can sleep better and the benefits it can have for you. Because if you are sleeping well, you're less likely to be fatigued, you're less likely to be stressed, you're more likely to have better communication and to be able to deal with the situation that you're presented with. Number 3 is your diet. Your diet is key, especially a diet for business professionals. And I have done a video, I have done an episode on what diet business professionals should be on, because yes, it is different to any other diet, because your circumstances, being a business professional, your time is different to other individuals. So there you have it, 3: self-care, sleep, and the other one is your diet. Make sure that you listen to those episodes to get the most out of your business, to succeed, and to be not as stressed as you are at the moment, so your business is able to thrive, so you're able to achieve the success that you deserve, because you deserve the success. 100% you do. All right, so there you have it. That brings me to the end of this episode, where I spoke about stress and how it's hurting your business. If you are implementing any of them, let me know. Get in contact with me on Instagram at mihaela.raguse. Send me a voice message, send me a video, whatever you want, a message. I'll get in touch with you to assist you, to see how I can best help you through this process so your business is able to thrive. There you have it. Love, like, share, rate, do what you do best. Until next Monday, love you.